wish I could tell you that the first night with your foster dog is going to be all sunshines and rainbows, it's going to be a lovely magical experience. But the reality is you've taken in potentially a very stressed out dog into a brand new environment, and they don't know what's expected of them, and they don't necessarily know that you're safe, that the house is safe, and that someone's coming back to look after them in the morning. So it can be quite challenging. And I thought I'd make this video just to cover a few of the challenges that you might face on that first night, so that you're ready and you know what to expect if it does crop up in the early hours. The first challenge is house training accidents. Quite a lot of fosters, in fact, I think all but one or two of my fosters have had house training accidents on the first night. Sometimes this is just a little accident, sometimes it can be quite dramatic, especially if they're stressed and have a bit of a funny tummy. So this is something to be prepared for. Make sure you've got cleaning supplies in, make sure that you're going to be able to take the dog out straight away in the morning, maybe even need to wash them off a little bit, and just make sure you set them up in an area that isn't like your fanciest carpeted area or your lovely new sofa. I always just put them in a utility room with laminate floor, with everything puppy proofed, so that if they do have a house training accident, I can just scrub it down in the morning, few minutes, it's all gone, no issue, we can get on with our day. And the dog isn't going to feel stressed about the fact that I'm getting annoyed having to scrub all of the toilet training accidents out of this really expensive item. So one thing you can prepare for is your foster dog will probably have a house training accident, and so don't set them up to fail, put them in a location that is easy to clean. The next challenge that you may face is whining and barking at night. Now, this is something that can be common just because the foster dog is in a new environment and is trying to figure things out, and the way that they express that is through making noise, either trying to summon you or trying to just let anyone who is around know, I'm here, leave me alone, I'm scared. And usually most of my foster dogs, if they make noise, they settle down within half an hour and then go to sleep. Some of them will make noise in the middle of the night because they've woken up scared and they want to make sure you're still there, which case I will go down, reassure them, settle them, and try and go back upstairs again. Some of my fosters have made zero sound, and I really appreciate those ones that just settle themselves, go to sleep, wait for me to come in the morning. But more often than not, there is a little bit of noise, sometimes a bit of pacing and whining as well. So occasionally I will have to bring them up to my room, and usually that settles them when they know that you're there. Occasionally it may not, just because they are so stressed out that they are whining a little bit over the night to release that emotion. But often that will taper down over time, over the next few nights. So just be aware, it is something that may crop up. It doesn't necessarily indicate that your dog is going to be loud every night for the rest of the time that you foster it. It may just be while it's settling in, it just needs that extra bit of personal comfort of making that noise. Another thing that may crop up is your dog acting afraid, but for some reason that you can't figure out. And this is often the case with dogs who have been used to a specific routine, and suddenly they come into your house and the routine has changed and they don't understand why, and that makes them scared. So it might be something like a sound in your house that seems perfectly normal to you, that the dog has never heard before, or even just never heard in this context. And when it's dark and it's quiet and all they hear is this sound, that might scare them. Or it could be something like the dog has always slept with a white noise machine or always slept with a radio on, and now they're in your house and you haven't turned that on, and they're just so focused on all of the other sounds they can hear that is normally drowned out by that. Or maybe the dog has never slept in the dark completely. Their owner might have left a nightlight on or the hallway light or something like that. And so they don't understand why they're suddenly bathed in this darkness in this new place. So sometimes some of the unsettled behaviour, maybe some of the whining or barking, that could be solved just by experimenting a little bit and seeing if changing one of these aspects can help settle the dog a bit more. The final thing that I would recommend looking out for the first night with your foster dog is there may be some chewing. So some dogs express their stress through barking or pacing, some like to chew. and they may not necessarily chew the most appropriate things. So if you've left your foster dog just free roaming the house, you may come downstairs in the morning to finding your sofa or a carpet or a rug or the side of a chair a little bit chewed up. So what I would recommend is leave it in a puppy-proofed room, gated off from the rest of the house. Or if you're taking it up to your room, make sure your room is puppy-proofed. And the reason that I do that is just because I don't want to establish the boundary of you can chew whatever you want in my house. To me, the foster dog or any dog that comes in my house, they are allowed to chew what I give them to chew and nothing else. And I can't exactly set that boundary if I'm just leaving them to roam by themselves initially where they can chew anything. So I've had things like, even though I leave them in a puppy-proofed room, I left one foster dog in there with an empty bin and came down and found that the bin lid had just been chewed apart. So even something like that you may not think would interest them to chew, you could very well find chewed up. Hopefully this list of challenges didn't scare you off of taking in a foster dog for the first night. It's just something to be aware of when you're doing this, that dog behaviours might crop up, and if you're aware of them, then you can plan for them, and you won't get as stressed out if they do come up because you start to understand why they're appearing, and then you can work with the dog to combat the issues so that they stop appearing as well. It can be difficult settling in a foster dog, but it is really rewarding once they are starting to settle and you see those signs of improvement. Let me know in the comments if you've ever fostered a dog and come across challenges in the first night that I haven't mentioned here, because it might just be a challenge that I've not personally come across yet, and I'd love to stay informed so that I know if it does crop up, oh, I'm not the only one, this has happened to someone else as well.